All right, everyone. So Goldberg was asked, and he talked a little bit about the pressure of his retirement match, and he used kind of the Tyson Jake Paul fight as something to continue to talk about, and use as an example. So here's what he said: first and foremost, in my professional opinion, it wasn't scripted. I just think at 58 years old, and this is me talking because I'm preparing for my final hurrah. The first thing that goes is your body. The last thing that goes is your mind. Tyson may have wanted to do better and wanted to perform better and knock Jake Paul out and give a better impression of himself to the world, but there's only so much you can do. I don't think his legs were under him by any stretch. Roy Jones Jr. made notice of it. Andre Ward mentioned it. He didn't look good. He didn't look stable leg wise. He looked like he was drained. It's a lot of pressure. I'm in a fictitious business, and there's going to be a lot of pressure on me just to show up in the condition people remember me in, and that in itself is a heavy weight to bear. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, and it pains me to say this. I got respect for Jake Paul after, not because of his ability to box, but because of his ability to be a human being. I don't care what he said afterwards. Actions speak louder than words. If he would have shoveled up that uppercut and that overhand right, he probably would have hurt Tyson pretty bad. You could take away all the goofy shit Jake Paul brings to the table. The fact that he's playing a character like Conor McGregor, so people hate him and he could draw more money. He showed he has a heart and respect for his elders. He couldn't do it. I don't think he could bring himself to do it. The piece of shit that he portrays to many people couldn't pull the trigger, and I commend him for that. So then he started talking about his retirement match. And this transcript, by the way, is from Wrestle Talk. I just have to be me again. This is something I've tried to teach my son because 18 years old, he's going to be 20. He's going up against 25-year-old kids, graduate assistants, and grad students that have played for 6 years. It's a difference in reality. Mine is a difference in reality also. I'm at least twice the age of whoever I'm going to wrestle. At least your mind is a very powerful thing. Your mind can make you do things that your body completely tells you no, but it can only go a certain distance. It puts things in perspective, but I'm a different person than Tyson is, and I'm being asked to do something different than Tyson did. The amount of pressure I feel after watching Tyson and Paul does not weigh heavier on me by any stretch of the imagination compared to the pressure I'm going to put on myself. So I think he does a pretty good job here of, pointing out there's a level of pressure, there's a level of just age and doubt and just there's a lot of stuff going through his head more than people may think. Now, with that being said, I do think, and Goldberg sort of mentions this, but he doesn't talk about it a lot. There is a huge difference between what Mike Tyson did and what Goldberg is going to do, and the difference here is that you could say Jake Paul took it easy on Tyson throughout the match, and I think people watched it. That's the main takeaway a lot of people had. But at the same time, going into the fight, this was something that Jake Paul A was going to want to win, and B, it was not set up to make sure Mike Tyson was going to look as good as he can. In Goldberg's retirement match, WWE is going to be putting it out there so that he looks as good as he can. They're going to be trying to, make him look as good as possible. So that's a huge boost for somebody that is older. If the whole point of the Jake Paul Tyson fight was to make Tyson win and for Tyson to look good, Tyson would have looked fine, right? They could have made a bunch of different things happen. It would have been obviously a scripted event, but it would have looked the way they wanted to look. They could do that same thing with Goldberg. Now, there is a level to it. We've seen with like The Undertaker in some of his last matches, you could see just physically he was almost unable to do it. Now The Undertaker's great and people still love the matches, but it was a physical problem. When you look at Goldberg, even right now, he's not to that level. He's not to the point where you're you're basically like people could just tell that you can't wrestle. I don't think Goldberg is going to be doing that in the ring. I don't think he's to that level in terms of age, which is why I think he wants to do this now. So I think there's going to be pressure, obviously, but with that being said, I don't think it's going to be anywhere near like the type of stuff that Tyson was going through, which is he was in an actual competition versus this is just going to be, can I put on a good show? And WWE is going to do their best to make sure he's put in the best position. And I think it's going to go over well. It's more about, can they put the right storyline together, and then can they deliver that match?